Today we're going to talk about functions in spreadsheets. Now what exactly is a function? I Googled it and here's what it said. A function is a predefined formula that performs calculations using specific values in a particular order. So there you go. Spreadsheets are really cool tools. You can find out a lot about your data with a spreadsheet, but the real power behind a spreadsheet are the functions. And frankly, some functions are pretty confusing and they're kind of over my head. But a lot of the functions are pretty basic. And yet, even though they're basic, they're really, really useful. So we're going to look at some of the basic functions in a spreadsheet and see how we can use them. Right now we have a spreadsheet with student GPAs on here. And over here, this squiggly little line right here, that's the function icon. Now, if you choose that, you have a drop-down menu of all the functions that are in Google Sheets. But the ones we're going to concern ourselves with are these top 5 right here today, okay? And starting with sum, okay? Sum, let's say that you wanted to find out here, column B has all the service hours that the students have performed. And let's say you want to find out total service hours that all the students performed. Well, you can do that with the sum function. We're going to put our cursor and choose C9. The cell is right under the list of numbers for service hours. We're going to choose our function key and we're going to choose sum. Then all we need to do is highlight these cells, that would be C2 through C7 that have the service hours in them, and then kind of let go of our mouse and hit the enter key. And we have 169. That's the total service hours. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Let's say, though, that you wanted to know the average. How many, on the average, service hours did the students work? Again, back to the function icon. We choose average. Again, we highlight these cells, press the enter key. And on average, they worked a little bit over 24 hours per student. That's pretty valuable, but those averages come in really handy when it comes to grade point averages, because here we have quarters 1 through 4, but what if we want to know the average of those 4 quarters per student? Well, again, we highlight, put our cursor and just choose that cell H2, which is the cell right next to quarter 4. And again, it could be anywhere on here, but usually we kind of put them kind of close by. We choose the function key and we choose average. We highlight quarters 1 through 4, which is D2 through G2. We press the enter key and there you have it, 3.75 for Gary Hansen. You notice that Google also has now a suggested autofill. It kind of sees where you're going with all this and wants to know, okay, do you want us to automatically fill in the rest for you? Well, of course we do. So we choose that X box, the checkbox right there, and there you go. Now, let's say for some reason that autofill wasn't available to you. Well, all hope is not lost. You don't have to sit here and do average one after the other to figure it out. What you do is you put your cursor in H2, the one that already has it filled in, and this little blue square in the right-hand corner, right-hand lower corner, I should say, if you put your cursor over it, it turns into a crosshair. When you see the crosshair, hold down your left mouse button, scroll down and let go, and there you go. It's filled them all in for you. Because what you got to keep in mind is what you're seeing here is the result of the formula. What's actually in that cell is the formula. If you go up here to the formula bar, you see what's in that cell is equal average D2 through G2. And so the result is that. And so when you kind of use that little blue box and go down with it with your mouse, what it's doing is applying that same formula to all of the other cells below it. And it's smart enough to know which numbers it has to change to make all that happen. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Next, let's consider count. Let's say you want to figure out how many students are in each of these grade levels. Well, you can do that by count. Put your cursor in B9. We're going to choose the function icon, choose count, highlight them all, choose our enter key, and there are 7. And you would think it would work that way with students, but it doesn't. It has to be more of a numerical kind of thing. There's another function that will work with students, but if we tried it with students, same thing. We choose count, we highlight the students, press our enter key, and we end up with 0. So that doesn't work. But with the other ones, it will. With any of these other ones, it will. Okay? So that's count. And in certain applications, that comes in real handy. Next, maximum. Okay? Let's figure out what the maximum GPA for quarter 1 was. Okay? So here we go to our function key. We choose maximum. We highlight those cells in quarter 1 and choose our enter key. And the maximum GPA for quarter 1 was 4.0. Well, what about minimum? We could do minimum too. Let's do minimum for quarter 2. Put our cursor in E9, choose our function key, choose minimum, highlight those cells, that'd be E2 through E8, press our enter key, and the minimum GPA for that quarter for the students was 1.90. So I hope you can see that functions are a powerful part of spreadsheets, and when you just master even some of the basic ones, it can really open up the power of how you can manipulate your data. All right, see you next time.